Hello again. So I spent about 5 years on active duty as an enlisted soldier in the late 80s, early 90s. And when I first started that venture, I started with a one-station unit training, basic training, advanced individual training at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. And there I met Drill Sergeant Olemacher. And Drill Sergeant Olemacher made me keep my wall locker and three-drawer chest in a certain order. And that order was the same order that every other soldier in our platoon had. All of our shirt jackets, the Army uniform shirt jacket was hanging such that, the back was to the right and the front was to the left. Every button was buttoned just as you were wearing it. Not the top button, but all the rest of them. Your socks were rolled about 4, maybe 3, 4 inches wide. As pairs and folded back down upon themselves. Your t-shirts were rolled 6 inches wide. How long 6 inches? Well, it's a dollar bill. Take one out of your pocket, biffle, and figure it out, right? And so in your three-drawer chest, everything was lined up. And then after I got out of basic training AIT, I went to an active duty unit, Fort Hood, Texas, with the 1st Cavalry Division. And there on the gun line, as I was a field artillery cannon crew member, on the gun line, we had a Connex box that we stored all of our tools and basic issue items, additional authorization list things for the equipment, we stored inside this big box. And on the wall of that big box was a what we called a shadow board. And so you'd take a screwdriver and you'd put it on the wall there, and you would trace around the screwdriver or the wrench or whatever you had, and that's where it was stored. It had a little shadow there to let you know that's where it went. You would put it there, and that's where it was kept. And then when you loaded into the gun or the ammo vehicle, when you loaded that stuff up, everything went in the vehicle according to a load plan. Everything had a place to go. It was well thought out. Every gun in the whole battery stored all of their stuff in the exact same place. You were operating under a load plan. This became beneficial. I guess I realized it all. At first I was thinking, golly, the Army's just making me do stuff, and I don't understand why. But Operation Desert Storm, 91, came to be about the 2nd day of the ground war. We had crossed over into Iraq, and one evening, probably 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, our driver was somewhat pivot steering the track vehicle we were riding in, and we threw track. So our track came off of the road wheels, and then the vehicle wouldn't move anymore. And so we had to break track and repair that, right? And so we started doing that in the middle of the night. Came to a point where we needed more tools, because you could work twice as fast and you're losing sleep while you're out there doing this. Potentially if you had more tools, you could work twice as fast. So one of the guys ran over to the 6-section gun, and those guys were asleep over there. And he went over there, and he just went into the bustle rack where he knew the tool bag was stored, because it was loaded per the load plan that every other gun on the gun line was loaded to. And so he went straight to the tool bag, got the tool bag. We borrowed the tools, used them, put them back, cleaned them, put them back. And then next day, 6-section, we just told them, hey, last night we came and got your stuff, But I guess the moral of that whole story is that things need to have their place. You need to have a place to keep things. It's more tidy, more organized, and that kind of thing. So my gift suggestion for today, long story to get to this, but a couple of years ago, my youngest daughter, got my bride this little ring box. It's just a small little box with a lid, and she keeps it here on the counter, on the windowsill. And when she's washing dishes or baking bread or doing things in the kitchen, she takes her rings off and she puts them in this box. Before we had this box, she might take them off and she put them over there on the counter or on the table or somewhere, but they didn't they didn't have a place. The rings didn't have a place. But now they have a place, and she doesn't come to me and say, hey, have you seen my rings? The rings are either here or on her finger. You know, so that's sort of a hint, a tip, if you will, for a gift suggestion. It doesn't have to be a box. It can be a little bowl or something, you know, just some place to keep things like that. You know, and if folks have brides who are bakers, you know, or maybe just homemakers that you know, do things around the kitchen, you might want to get a little ring box or something as a gift suggestion. So, you know, keeping things where they need to be. That's what works for me most.